This is Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. 17 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. Glad you're with us. You're going to enjoy this very much. If considering the fact that 97.7% of all employers in the state of Oregon are small businesses and entrepreneurs, we've all been there. Well, we're bringing on Heather Stafford. She's the executive director from Sustainable Valley Technology Group, along with her special guest, Amy Pearl. And Amy is the founder and CEO of Hatch Oregon and Springboard, and been doing this for a number of years. And she's brought, I'm going to have her tell you about what she's done. She's brought this law forward, and it's doing great things. So, ladies, thank you so much for being in this morning.
Thank you. Well, good morning.
Yeah. So, Amy, tell us about this law, because what's happened is it was going to go into the legislature.
Right.
Representative Tobias Reed was going to sponsor it.
Yep.
But then the securities, tell us, the SEC, they said, hey, we can work with this without the legislature.
Not quite the SEC. That's federal, right? This was our state folks. They're from the Division of Corporate, Division in Finance and Corporate Securities. They are the regulators of securities for the state of Oregon, and we were working with them to ensure that this particular law, which was being written as a law at that time, met with their approval, and looking at the things like investor protections and other sorts of legal things that we have to ensure are part of this. And they said, we've been through this legislative process in the past. What happens with the law is you end up having to write rules around it. So we're just going to write the rules right now. And instead of it being legal, let's say, by maybe 2016, it's going to be law by the 1st of 2015.
And this, this is, we've dealt with this locally. Heather, very familiar with it. Of course, the Angel Investment Network here, and the, certified investor, what, Heather, what's the other word?
Accredited investors.
Accredited investors.
Yeah,
so,
it's what your angels are.
Exactly.
Your angels and venture capitalists, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And so the next thing is for entrepreneurs to raise money. It's either had to have been a gift of any amount, gifted, no strings attached, or if you invest, then you get involved with state regulation and federal regulation, correct? And that's why the certified and accredited. But this new law would be really kind of what Kickstarter and all this crowdfunding has been doing recently, right?
Yeah, the difference is that the investor in Oregon can actually benefit and own a share or a debt stake in one of these companies as a regular person. So the 99%, the entire population of Oregon. Anyone with some cash in the bank can take it out and invest up to $2,500 a year in whatever companies that they're interested in. So it's a real game changer for the way that money has moved around Oregon, and it really creates community wealth and community prosperity. There's a lot of places in Oregon, especially in rural Oregon, and we know something about that in Southern Oregon, that really have for a long time lacked access to venture capital, bank loans and microfinance, things like that. The world has sort of changed, and raising up to $250,000 for a startup or an early stage entrepreneur is really difficult.
Right.
And this is going to make that a whole new ball game.
And what has happened is the federal law has, limited the interstate of finance and raising funds. But since this is an intrastate, which is in the state of Oregon only, you can raise money with investors within the state. As long as you don't break state line, now all of a sudden there's a whole new playing field. And Amy, you were instrumental in bringing that forward, right?
Yes, I was. It's so we're a nonprofit in Portland, but interested in helping communities raise capital, so more about community development and the fact that when you retain wealth in a community, you build that tax base, you increase the capacity of communities to decide where they want to be when they grow up. Trying to find legal mechanisms for small startup and mostly rural kinds of businesses has been very difficult. So we launched this campaign to start talking about what could this intrastate law look like in Oregon. So there are about 14, 15, 13 states across the country who've already done this. So we're benefiting by the fact that other states have started to do these intrastate laws. And to be clear about what intrastate means is that means, and it's important to any entrepreneurs listening, that at least 80% of your assets and income come from within the state, that you're incorporated within the state, and that all of your investors will be Oregon residents. Now, that's only while you're doing your fundraise. You can grow afterwards, sort of after you've closed your raise. But there are particular criteria around this particular intrastate exemption.
It's awesome. And one of the things, and this will get everyone's attention, and you brought this up, national data on savings accounts. And in Oregon, if we were to use 1% of Oregonian savings, it equals to how much?
$915 million.
almost a billion
almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Just 1% of our savings in Oregon. That doesn't even mean our investments. This is just retirement savings data. It's nearly $1 billion. So if every Oregonian, let's just say, were to say, I'm just going to take 1% of my savings and put that money into my local community, that would bring in almost $1 billion into this state. It would be extraordinary, and this law is unprecedented. It is illegal at the moment until these rules become law, which we hope will be that very first week of January. It's illegal and always has been. So this is a pretty big game changer for this state.
It's amazing. And we're talking with Amy Pearl. She's the founder and CEO of HatchOregon.com, and Heather Stafford. She's the executive director of Sustainable Valley Technology Group. And they have formed a team in the state of Oregon together, and many more wonderful individuals, very intelligent, on the board. You can go to HatchOregon.com and see all that. We're going to continue with the interview and talk about what the possibilities are. I mean, you look at this, 98% of all employers in the state of Oregon are small businesses. You could be asking for fundraising for capital. I mean, I saw that, we all watch Shark Tank, but this is what? Who said it?
Guppy Tank.
Guppy Tank. That's exactly. Well, we'll come right back. More on the Sunrise Show after this quick break. The Bloomberg Market Update is next, and then we'll continue with Amy Pearl and Heather Stafford after that. Stay tuned. You're on KCMX News Radio 880 and the Sunrise Show. This is Craig Froelich. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. Glad you're here. And my guests are Heather Stafford, Executive Director for Sustainable Valley Technology Group. It's svtg.org, info@svtg.org. And her special guest, Amy Pearl, and she's the CEO and founder of HatchOregon.com. And Amy has written a law, along with her team, has put this law together, and the state of Oregon is getting ready to approve it for intrastate investing up to $2,500 per person, and you don't have to be certified or accredited, right, Heather? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, the entrepreneur can raise up to $250,000, and they have a year to do it, and they can raise it from everyday Oregonians. Any citizen of Oregon can invest up to $2,500 in that company, which until this law passes has been illegal, actually, for the 99% to invest.
Right, and it was always a gift, and that's like what the Kickstarter or the crowdfunding was doing, is you could gift it, and then you just basically hope that the startup continues and works.
Right, and so that's not a security. I guess we don't want to go too deep into securities here on the radio, but
right.
Gifting something and expecting a T-shirt or a mug or your name on a movie trailer or something like that is really just a gift. And this is actually different. This is every Oregonian has a chance to actually invest in a company and get dividends or interest or shares or, however the deal is structured. And it's kind of like a mini IPO, if you think about it, for just the state. So you can actually be a participant in the success of local companies.
So the new phrase then is CPOs, right? Community public offerings. So it doesn't have to be just entrepreneurs in their startups. It could be storefront businesses as well, right?
It's really a small business law. It's not necessarily meant for startups specifically, although they need access to capital like everyone. But even your local mom and pop shop down on Main Street, maybe they need to expand. Maybe they have an opportunity to buy the building next door to them, and their community loves them, and they've got fans already. They've got customers already. They can now ask those customers and those fans to help them invest and grow.
So does this hurt small business administration and like bank loanings and things like that? Because, I guess if they don't qualify, then they have no other way to, and this would be the alternative financing.
We've actually gotten incredible feedback from bankers that really love this. They see it as a way to get small businesses to become bankable. That's actually quite a quote from one of our regional banks. So working on getting disclosure documents and business plans and markets together, and they obviously grow their customer base at the same time, which is wonderful. Everybody wants that because customers are king. So it's a win-win for everybody so far. We really haven't heard a lot of negative feedback about this. People are pretty excited.
It's amazing because communities can kind of be in charge of their future. That's what we've been really hard. The ONC counties, the timber counties in Oregon, 18 of the counties. Oregon's been hurt hard, so this is a great opportunity. Well, Amy, I want to get back to Amy, but Heather, you were at the White House for an award recently.
Yeah, well, Sustainable Valley won an SBA award, and there was 832 applicants last year for this Accelerator Growth Fund Award, and it's an experiment on the SBA's part to invest in accelerators and incubators around the state, and they picked 50 winners out of those 832, and we were one of them.
So you got to go to the White House. Who presented the award to you?
We met the head of the SBA, Maria Contreras-Sweet, and a whole host of other people that were there at the White House, that work at the White House, that work for all these different agencies.
Wow.
And, they're really, just as a country, I think we're really looking at rehomelanding some of this stuff and working with early stage startups and getting, the focus is really on innovation. And this is just one other tool in the toolkit to address what we're after, which is we provide mentoring and we provide, we try and connect our entrepreneurs with money. And the money part is challenging, especially at early stages, or especially for small businesses that aren't your typical angel conference business, maybe won't scale outside the state.
Right.
This is really, truly a local investing opportunity for those beloved companies that we have here that we want to see stay. But maybe they're not so investor attractive.
And that's where Amy comes in.
Yes.
and now, is there a name for this law? Amy, have you named it?
Yeah, well, actually, this is a little tricky. It's actually administrative rules. And these rules, when it is filed, which we anticipate happening relatively soon, again, this has not happened yet.
Right.
It will be called something like the Oregon Intrastate Exemption or something. And that's going to be the name of the rules themselves, so the law that will become law. So it's not a law, it's just going to be law. And then what that allows of an entrepreneur to do is to create a community public offering. So you could call it a number of things. We're actually coining that phrase somewhat like the larger thing called a direct public offering, which we won't get into here. But it makes sense. It works. A CPO is very understandable. So that's what we're calling the kinds of offerings that will result from this particular exemption.
Great. If anyone wants to connect, the email address, info@hatchoregon.com or info@svtg.org. It's great to have you in town, Amy. Great to hear what's going on. Very exciting. I love that figure. 1% of all the savings for Oregonians would be $915 million. That's just...
Yep, amazing. It's an amazing number. And I think the idea that a lot of the infrastructure for investing really serves, for the most part, the 1%. It's not something that the 99% have access to. So this allows that. The number really results from just the number of people that are now invited to the table.
It's amazing. Now, what's happening on January 22nd?
Yeah.
What's that big event? What?
Well, it's actually statewide. There are a number of different events. So it's a big celebration. It's a launch of the companies the first round of companies that are choosing to use this particular exemption to do fundraising. And we have an event here in downtown Medford. There's also one in Portland. Amy can speak to the rest. We've got a whole statewide network of companies from Eastern Oregon, Northwestern in the Tillamook area in Halem, and Eugene, Portland, Eastern Oregon, and here so far. And it's just to kick it off. It's actually an event that's going to be happening in the evening of January 22nd, and you can write a check and invest in a company that day.
Ooh, very cool. Well, we'll have more time to talk about that. You even talked about me investing online on the radio. Amy, you were getting all excited about that. Yeah,
we're gonna have an investment moment with Craig here and have him invest in one of the local companies. You guys hold him to it.
Gosh, I've got a call coming in. We've got to get to a break, but we'll take this call and we'll come back more on the Sunrise Show as we continue. Very exciting. Amy, thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Heather, you as well. The White House trip, unbelievable. Back after this.